Good evening, everyone. It's 6:30 on December the 12th, so I will call this meeting of the Guilford Select Board to order. I see we're up to speed. Good. Thank you. Okay, so we'll start. The first order of business is our rules of procedure. Rusty, if you'd read those, please.
The Select Board has adopted a set of rules and procedures for its operations. They are here and in on the chat online. These rules ask that everyone present at the meeting conduct themselves in a civil manner. Additionally, on every chair and in the chat online, there is some basic information which includes how to contact Select Board members, how to secure a spot during the community comment portion of the meeting, how to get onto the agenda, how to communicate with the board via mail or email.
Thank you, Rusty. And we'll want to make sure that everybody is signed in here that's in person. And just checking the screen, okay, for order, good. We'll keep that good. So we'll move right on to the welcoming of the public, our addition to the meeting or community comment period. We'll turn it over to Miranda.
Yes, we have two exciting community comments tonight. And I see Reagan Anderson. Reagan, are you with us? Oh, wait. We have to unmute her. Oh dear.
1 second.
I just
There you
can't.
go.
Okay.
That work?
Yeah, Reagan, loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, my kids are in the background. We're gonna have a gathering on Saturday. That's what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Is okay. On Saturday at for the Guilford folk. It's an idea, like to come up with ideas to work on throughout the year. Just bring people together to ways to learn together and share our skills and talents. And it's going to be like a cookie potluck. So like you can bring, if you want, you don't have to contribute anything. You could just come. And it's going to be at the library. Oh, John, are you on here? Can you tell me what time? I forget. I think it's John. You're going to have to unmute John. Here he goes.
It is at 1:30 to 4 at the
Okay.
library on Saturday, the 17th.
So could Reagan, could you explain just a little bit about Guilford folk for people who don't know about it?
Yeah, we just a group of us friends got together and started, wanted basically just a way to bring people in our community together through learning and sharing. So like skills that we have or things that we want to learn about, things that are interesting to all of us. We've done before, we've done like maple sugaring, backyard sugaring. John organized that. And that was like going to different neighbors' homes and seeing their sugaring setup. We've done a community kitchen where we cooked. We skated at his house, yeah. John, what else did we do? Oh, pen pals. We do our pen pals. Yeah. And that's coming back up. Where we connect people in Guilford with through writing, so people can sign up and they get matched up with a partner, and it goes through the winter, and you send letters back and forth. And this year I think we're trying to work on the ability to help those who need like stamps or stationery or anything like that. So yeah.
That was a lovely project, the Pen Pal project.
Is this are they talking from the library?
I think
She said we who?
so.
Guilford folk.
Guilford
So
folk.
Guilford folk is, FOLK. And so they matched people who didn't know each other to be pen pals, correct?
Yeah. And it stands for, actually our full name is like Guilford Folk Learning Connections. And we're trying to connect people in our community through learning, different opportunities for that. And so there's so many skills in Guilford that everyone has. We wanted everyone to have an opportunity to share those things together. So.
Terrific. Well, thank you so much. So, John, would you share what you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I just wanted to add also another event that I'm helping organize through the library is a stargazing tomorrow night, Tuesday at 5:30 to 6:30. It'll be supposed to be clear but cold. So I think if people bring scarves and everything, we're going to have warm beverages and try to keep people warm. But we're going to meet at the Playscape, which is just down the hill from the library, and it at 5:30. And hopefully we will be seeing the Geminid meteor showers, which are going on right now, and they are some of the more active meteor showers in the year. And you can, I think they say you can see up to maybe 2 a minute, or that. So anyway, it'll just be a kind of casual gathering for people to come and hang out, talk about the stars, look up, wonder, say, and just experience the being together in the awe of the night sky.
That sounds lovely. And so once again, the time frame for that?
So that was tomorrow, Tuesday, at 5:30 to 6:30 at the Playscape.
Okay. Thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
those
you.
are the community comments.
Thank you, Brenda. All right, we'll move right ahead then to changes to the agenda, and I don't think there are any this evening. Oh, sorry. Well, I will speak to that in a moment. We'll just table that when we get there. Okay, thanks, Jim. Approval of the minutes is the next item on the agenda, and we need to approve minutes of the November 28th regular meeting. So
So moved.
Thank you, Michael.
Second.
Thank you, Richard. Is there any discussion here at the select board? All right, so I'll take a vote. Rusty, are you, we need to unmute Rusty.
I need more hands.
Yeah, Rusty, how about you raise your hand if you're willing? Okay, good, thanks, sorry. Michael?
Aye.
Richard? Brenda?
Aye.
Zon says aye, thank you. And then we need to approve the minutes of
Who
the.
seconded that? I'm sorry,
I did.
you moved it. Who
No,
seconded
no,
it?
Michael moved it,
I
and then
Okay.
Richard seconded it. Now, for this, then we need to approve the minutes of the special meeting of December the 8th. Need a motion to.
I so move.
Thank you, Brenda.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Richard. All right, is there any discussion of those minutes with them? All right, Rusty?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, Michael?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Brenda?
Aye.
Zon says aye. Thank you very kindly. So that's taken care of. Then we'll move on to the next part of our agenda, which is updates and reports. And I see Dan here, so maybe we'd like a little talk about the highway department.
Good evening.
Nice to see you.
We finally got our first little white stuff out there.
Yes.
It went pretty well. I mean, it was fluffy. Got a little bit more snow than what the weathermen said we were supposed to get. So, we waited till it got all done. Started right after midnight. Plowed them off, sanded, salted. One thing I'm not going to do this year, these small storms, we're not going to chase snowflakes. We're going to wait for the storm to get over and then
Smart.
clean them up and get them all done in one shot. So,
Great.
other than that, we were grading roads right up until last Friday, and cold weather setting in, and I got a few more projects I'd like to try to get done before it gets too much colder. So, other than that, I'll probably order my first load of salt this week, or maybe next week. Then I want to keep my sand shed full,
Okay.
so we'll stockpile like I normally do. We stockpile as we use it. So I'll keep my nice dry sand for when we really get to cold weather. That it's good and dry, and we're not after breaking up chunks all the time. But other than that, things are going good. The new man, he was his first time out plowing. I mean, he was a little cautious, took him a little longer to get around. But some places he could have got back a little further, and some places he did all right. But he just being cautious and learning the route. So, but other than that, everything went pretty well.
Is it round for you?
It's spotty.
Thanks, Danny.
Thank you, Dan. Yes, as always, thank you. All right, thank you. Now we'll move on to the next part of the agenda, which is our old business. This is business that the select board has already seen before. So we will be looking at the topic here tonight is legal issues. And the first thing we need to do tonight is the board, in fact, will be passing, we will be voting on a motion in a few minutes to deal with some of the allegations that are coming toward the select board. So I'd like to read a little bit. Thank you, folks. I realize that when I read this information, and some of the language is very technical and very statute oriented, so it often doesn't make perfect sense, as if I was having a conversation with everyone in town. I ask your permission to bear with me and let me read these out loud, because this is just the formal way. We're dealing with very formal processes, so there are very formal responses required. So, on November 30th, 2022, Jason Heron alleged that Assistant Town Administrator Sheila Morse violated the open meeting law by seeking advice from the town attorney outside of a duly warned meeting, or that the select board violated the open meeting law by allocating funds outside of a duly warned meeting. Mr. Heron previously alleged the same open meeting law violation on October the 5th, 2022, and the select board denied the October 5th, 2022 allegation. In the renewed allegation, Mr. Heron has included additional statutes he believes Ms. Morse and or the select board have violated. Specifically 1 VSA section 172 and 1 VSA section 312G. So the select board has seen this information. We talked about it at a previous meeting, and I'll continue reading here a response. Pursuant to 1 VSA section 314B2, the select board is required to respond publicly within 10 calendar days to a written notice of an alleged open meeting law violation. That we did. And while the select board responded to this allegation on December the 8th, 2022, it did not conduct a formal vote as to its response. Mr. Heron initially put forth this allegation on October 5th, and the town considered and denied the allegation then. The select board will not reconsider its decision based on Mr. Heron's additional statutory claims regarding the same alleged violation. We note that Mr. Heron made similar allegations against the select board members and staff in his open meeting law violation allegations of October 5th, 2022, October 14th, 2022, and October 25th, 2022. He attempted to resubmit some of these allegations on October 24th, 2022, and the select board determined it would not reconsider allegations on which it had already issued decisions. Given that the select board considered and denied the allegations in Mr. Heron's November 30th, 2022 claim when it considered the October 5th, 2022 allegations, there is no statutory process under which the select board can now reconsider the allegation. Pursuant to 1 VSA section 314C, when a person is aggrieved by a denial of an open meeting law violation, that person may bring an action in the civil division of the Vermont Superior Court. The court is the appropriate body to review the select board's decision. So the motion this evening will be, and I'll make it, I move that the select board vote to not reconsider Mr. Heron's October 5th, 2022 allegation as requested in his November 30th, 2022 submittal, and to officially sign the response letter sent to Mr. Heron after the special select board meeting.
Second.
Second. All right, thank you. Is there any discussion here at the select board? All right. Is there any discussion in the community? Seeing none, I will take the roll. Rusty.
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
Richard.
Aye.
Veranda,
Aye.
and Zahn says aye. Thank you very kindly for listening, folks, and following along. I would like to say a couple of more things about these legal issues, just so we know a little, so the community understands where we are and what we're dealing with here. Some of you may know that at the beginning of the first time we hired the law firm that we are working with, we budgeted $2,500 for that year. We had a little bit of unanticipated legal action in that year, so we bolstered the budget for this fiscal year to $5,000. We doubled it. So far this year, we're not halfway through the year, and we have spent more than $10,000 on unanticipated legal expenses at this point. And we are looking at the next fiscal year in budget workshops now, and we are looking at the possibility of increasing our legal fees budget for next year to $50,000, because we have expectation from an appeal that's currently at the Supreme Court that this will be quite an expense for Guilford to defend itself in this appeal that's being currently taken to the Supreme Court. So just want the public to understand about that. Then I also have been thinking a lot about this issue, and as chair, I have the freedom to speak to the community about these issues. So I take that opportunity now, and I thank you all for listening. There are two issues that are persisting here that in all of these issues, we have three kinds of issues we're dealing with. We're dealing with public records requests in a way that we haven't before. We're dealing with allegations of violation of open meeting law, which we haven't done before in recent history, I'm suggesting. And then we also are dealing with lawsuits, which we haven't done of late. So in all of these issues, there are two issues that are persisting for me, and one is the remarkable repetition of the information and the allegations that are coming to us. And there's a philosophy or a practice in law called res judicata. I've mentioned it before, that once a decision has been decided, it will not be reconsidered simply because new information has been found. That's exactly how we acted this evening. We have already decided, the select board has already decided the issues before us tonight in previous board meetings, and new information does not affect our decision. So the repetition that's coming to us needs to be seen by the community as well as by the select board. We're not dealing with individual separate situations that are being addressed. We're dealing with repetitious badgerings, is what I would call it, about these issues. And so we hope that the impression here is that we're putting this to rest tonight. That's our plan. I'd also like to speak to the fact that we've had requests not only from Jason Heron, but from members in the community that we take these issues seriously and that we look at all of these issues. I want to assure the community that that's exactly what we do. We take these issues very seriously, and we look at each one carefully and with our lawyers to make sure that we're not leaving any stone unturned. So I have been troubled of late by some community members who are suggesting that perhaps the select board's not paying the right kind of attention to this. In fact, I think we're doing a very good job of looking at these situations. I'm sorry that the decisions that we are making are not being also considered on the other side, but we still get repetitious allegations in front of us and issues that we have to deal with. So I just want to say that to the community. I feel like the select board, I feel very confident that the select board is looking very carefully at these issues, considering everything and making decisions that are in the best interest of Guilford. I'm very concerned about Guilford's health at this time. That's my responsibility. I take it very seriously, and I think the select board is right there with me in the same role. So I appreciate that you all listen.
I'd
Richard?
just like to point out that basically all of this is coming from one source, and I think
Correct.
that that's important to note.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you very kindly, community, for listening. This is a lot of information that we've taken in over time, and we're learning how to deal with it. And we're learning that this seems to be a situation that's not addressed for Guilford's health. It's being addressed for some other reason. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's not about creating a better Guilford. All right, so we'll move on in our agenda. Thank you.
Do you want to?
Let's see. No, sorry, Anna, at this point, we won't take comment. I'm sorry. We will do that we will do that during motions. That's the appropriate time for us to deal with that. So if you have something you'd like to say, please feel free to send me an email. It can be a communication to the board, and we will be happy to share it, as we will be doing later this evening with some other information, communications that have come to the board. So thank you kindly, Anna. All right, now we'll move on to new business in our agenda. And I will just inform the select board that I got a call from Jethro Eaton this evening, and he's not able to present the information about the housing needs tonight. So we will table that and put it on our next meeting. So now we'll turn to the ARPA Advisory Committee report, and Jamie Durham is here. Very glad that she's here. I'd like to just say a few words, if I may, Jamie, before we hear what you have to say. First of all, on behalf of the select board, Veranda and I were the liaison to this committee, and I would like to just thank this committee very deeply for the work that they've done. This was a group of people that came from a broad spectrum of our community. They didn't necessarily know one another before they got together, and yet in the short amount of time that they were working together, they really developed a stride and an ability to work together well, and they've presented us with a report that is quite remarkable. I'm very excited to be able to, I hope the board will adopt it this evening. I'm very excited to be able to present it to the community. We also worked very closely during this time, especially Jamie did, with Katie Buckley, who is now the state overseer of the ARPA funding program in Vermont. And Katie has asked specifically that this report created by our advisory committee be used as the model in the state of Vermont for how communities could report to their select boards about this kind of issue. So bravo to this committee for the work they both have done and for the report they've created. And with that, I'd like to just see if Jamie has anything to say.
Sure. Well, the committee members were Julie Holland and Vicki Sterling and Patty Bullock and Dan Calais. And like Zahn said, we didn't really know each other, and we sort of came with different perspectives, and we worked really well together. And I think everybody on that committee deserves our thanks. And yes. I don't think anybody's here, but if you see them, you can let them know. So just Jethro can't be here because I'm here, and Krivlik can. That helped. He's very passionate about his thing, and so he'll come next time. But have you read the report? I'm not sure what you want me to talk about. If there's questions, or I can summarize it for the community. I don't know what you would like.
I think what I'll suggest, if you don't mind, is if you could just talk about the final process that you went through. And maybe we don't have time and won't take time to go through the entire list of your recommendations, but maybe the nature of the three categories that you ended up at the end, that kind of thing.
Yes. Okay. May I ask a question?
Yes.
Are you expecting, as the chair, expecting that the select board is going to vote on the recommendations tonight?
No, just on adopting the report or
Yes.
accepting the report.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so our process was 3-phase. We followed the charge given to us by the select board, and in our first phase, we gathered ideas from the community because we wanted to make sure that everybody felt heard. So we did that. We had a website, we opened up an email address, and Julie and Patty set up tables outside of the election day and at the Guilford Fair, and we gathered about 150 ideas, which weren't included in the report. because a lot of them were sort of the same idea in different words, but we sort of ended up with these pages and pages. And then in the second phase, we took those ideas and we grouped them into 6 categories, and then we sent out a survey that I think everybody had seen, where you spend 100 imaginary dollars among these 6 categories, so we could determine the opinion of the town. And this was modeled after Newfane's process, and the Newfane Planning Commission chair was very helpful, and I don't remember his name, but he was very helpful. Ken? All right. And in the third phase, we analyzed the survey results, determined which of the projects were viable and ready to go, and balanced those projects against the survey results to get some final decisions. So what we then ended up doing was categorizing the projects into 3 sections, and the first category was projects to fund now. So this is a project that it's ready to go. There's a strong operating budget. It's eligible following ARPA guidelines. The entire committee, or at least a majority of the committee, supported it. We did not have to be unanimous, and there was some abstention, but it was very healthy discussion amongst different perspectives, so it felt really good and everybody got a chance to be heard, and we try to make sure that's reflected in the report. So there's, I don't know, 5 to 7 projects in this first category that should be funded now, or we are recommending get funded now, and that covers about $350,000. In our reporting, we learned from Katie Buckley that our total award amount was actually slightly higher than we originally anticipated. So that left us with about like 187,000, something like that, left over for the following 2 categories. So the second category had 3 projects in it, and it was for projects that should be funded once certain steps are taken, whether that being getting more accurate estimates for a capital plan, or just speaking with board members of this. We were talking, for example, about the meeting houses in this category, where we know it's been identified as a need, but the representatives haven't come forward with a specific request for funding. We don't know how much it's going to cost, so it's a need and it's a strong project, and we've recommended that the select board follow up with certain people for those 3 projects. And the report includes contact information for all of the different projects. And then the final category is a list of projects that are popular, that we've determined from the survey and gathering ideas from the town, but are not at a stage yet to be funded. They're listed there with also a note to the select board that says if any of these projects come forward with a request for funding, and if this request is a match for a grant that they've applied for, then that should be prioritized, because over and over again, Katie Buckley, who is unmentioned, has emphasized that we should leverage our ARPA dollars. So you can use ARPA dollars as a match for grants. So if any of these organizations in category B or category C come forward requesting a grant match, you have another, $200,000 or so, and about 2 years, because it has to be committed by the end of 2024, to match those funds. So that's essentially.
Great, thank you. It's a very thorough report, and if the select board accepts the report, then we'll be excited to get it out. And I would suggest that, thank you, Jamie, thanks very much. And thanks to the committee. Once again, the community, if you see the members of the committee, thank them. And I think you'll be pleased when you read the report. I think I want to just talk about next steps process a little bit. Maybe first, let's go ahead and see if we can accept the report. So I would take a motion to accept. Okay, all right.
I'll second it if you.
All right, Michael moved and Brenda seconded. All right, is there any?
We're going to have an articulated explanation of our next steps once the report is accepted.
Yes.
And once the report is accepted, will it be on the town website?
I think so. I think that would be a good thing, so that the town can see what the committee has recommended, and then they'll also be able to see, as I would describe next, in process, what our process is going forward with all of that. Okay. So, any further discussion here?
Yes, I just wanted to say, as one of the witnesses, really, I was mostly just a witness to what this ARPA committee did. You know, if Guilford had some kind of awards for public service, this committee really exemplifies just meshing talents and perspectives and working in exemplary cooperative way, you know, never a crossword, and always, you know, drawing on people's diverse strengths. And, you know, considering a lot of what we've been dealing with as a select board, it was more than a breath of fresh air. It was like a balm, BALM, you know, just to be part of
Thanks
this.
for clarifying.
Right.
Thank you. All right, so let's take the vote to accept. Rusty?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Michael?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
And Zon says aye as well. So thank you, very good work.
It was
Round of
our
applause.
pleasure. That's a problem to have.
Yeah.
Hard job, too.
Yeah, it's very sweet at the end of the report that you guys listed some things like that. It's a nice problem
It's
to
a
have.
good
It was an
problem to have,
opportunity
yeah.
to work on a good problem. So thank you. I think that just say it one more time, if it hasn't been said enough, that the way the ARPA dollars work from the federal government is in every town across the country and every municipality that's dealing with this, it is the responsibility of the legislative body, which in this case is the select board, to make all decisions about how funds are used. So while the committee is recommending and very carefully thought through various things, the select board will be considering all of those and all of the offerings of the committee, and will make its decisions based on that report. Please, no one should assume when they read this that what you read in the report is what's happening. That will have to come later. So I would imagine that what makes sense to me, but I'd love to hear what people say. What makes sense to me would be that there would be maybe a subcommittee of the select board that would take the responsibility of reading through the report very carefully and making a recommendation on the actual dollars to be spent. Or that's what makes sense to me, but it might be better for us
I'd
to
work with somebody to do that.
Okay, yeah, does that seem like a good idea to do subcommittee work? Because we'll have an opportunity to look at every single issue separately rather than talking about it. Not openly, that's not the issue, that's not what I mean to say, but rather than opening each one up as if we've never considered it before, so. Yeah.
And I'd like to participate in that because I
Yeah.
know a lot
Sure.
about grant opportunities.
Yeah.
I'd be willing if we need
All right,
another.
okay, thank you. So let's ask, so we will then, I would like to have a motion to appoint Richard and Michael as a subcommittee to look at the ARPA Advisory Committee's recommendations and come back to the board with recommendations on funds that we could release in accordance with that report. So,
I think Rusty wants to do it.
all right, Rusty?
No, I'm all set.
You
No,
wanna-
I so move.
Okay, are you willing to second that, Rusty?
I'm willing to second it.
That's great, thank you. All right, is there any discussion about that? Jamie?
We've neglected to add our contact information in the report, but you're welcome to contact us.
Of course.
There may come questions, I can imagine, yeah. All right, so let's take the roll call then. Rusty, you willing to approve of Richard and Michael?
Aye.
All right, Michael?
Aye.
And Richard?
Aye.
Yeah, thank you.
Aye.
And Zon says aye. Thank you very kindly. Both. And so we have a meeting in 2.5 weeks at the last one of the year on December 28th, and then we'll go into January. So let's keep it moving and not let it.
Okay, do you want to add a charge to that, to what the the subcommittee's going to do? Should it be to make recommendations about the expenditures?
That's what I would recommend, yes, yeah.
You mean specific dollar amounts?
Yeah,
Right.
And specific projects.
Yeah, yeah. I think that I might suggest that because it would always be good to go back and refer to the report from the advisory committee, and if the recommendation that you choose to make is at variance from theirs, then we would probably want to know why.
Yeah.
In case there's all right.
So do you want to add that to the motion, or?
Recommendations regarding projects and expenditures?
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Okay. All right. All right, then we'll go on. Do you want to? We'll move on to internet technology security. Thank you, Jamie. So finished your internet technology security, and I'm going to turn this part over to Sheila.
So, in my months here, I've become a little bit concerned about our internet and IT security, access, functionality, a lot of different areas, and I think it's a good idea to have somebody come and work with us to evaluate these programs and make recommendations about how well we're doing. Some things are okay, some things are not at all okay. And I, in order to deal with this, I drafted a request for a proposal for the select board to consider that talked about the background to the project and desired outcomes. And what I listed, and I'm hoping other people have other ideas, is that we should develop recommendations about the following, including, but not necessarily limited to, Google Workspace platform and account management, our security systems online and the on-site server, integration and ease of use of systems. For example, our projector no longer has a Bluetooth connection to the system, and I don't know how to fix that. Hardware inventory and training as required for certain software programs, and I'm looking for other recommendations. Just before we go into a discussion, I would like to say that I think, so I had an IT department in a previous life with 5 people, and I talked to somebody who used to work for me, and we thought that this might take 50 hours maybe. And if he lived in Guilford, I would say without qualification, I would recommend him working for us, because he worked for me for 14 years. And then he continued working after I left that job, but he's not available. So we have to look for somebody else, and I'd like to open it up, hopefully specifically to Guilford people who are able to come in and out of the office. I think a lot of this could be done online, but after an initial in-office sort of situation. So I drafted an RFP, and I'd like to know if people had any thoughts about other outcomes that we would be looking at, or
NEMRIC was in there, right?
NEMRIC is, I don't know if we can really touch NEMRIC,
Okay.
because it's a separate, accessing it and knowing that it's secure, yes, that would be part of my goal. But messing around with that software program, it is
No.
a Vermont
Right.
municipal
Yeah.
financial software morass, but it's there, that's what we've got, so I didn't know.
I read the RFP and I thought it was very well done, and it seemed to me to be comprehensive and cover what I would perceive to be the needs. And I also think that it's very much needed now.
I'd like to get a motion on the table.
I would motion that,
Okay, all right.
to accept the RFP to be put out.
All right.
Is there a second?
Thank you, Michael. All right, then we'll discuss it. So I'm interested to know, it looks to me that you're expecting this could possibly cost about $2,000. So that's an anticipated expense.
I don't know, but I'm just sort of putting a number out there to
Well,
see if we can.
it's not 40,000,
No,
it's not 500. Okay, so yeah, somewhere, you're ballparking it for sure, I get that. I'm just wondering if, so the select board's choice here in being able to spend this amount of money would be, the source would be the reserve?
let me just see
Or
what
would
we've
it
got
be
in
a-
our budget right now.
Yeah, I was wondering if there was anything in
I'm
the
sorry, I
budget.
didn't prepare that. We have, I think it's one of the ARPA recommendations. Is
No, I don't
technology in
remember.
there? So we are only at 41% of our budget on technical support this year, so it could come out of the technical support
Okay.
line.
All right. Just want to follow that up, just to make sure we're, yeah. Is there any other discussion?
Oh, so one person would have the skill set for anything from the Bluetooth on the projector.
I don't know if that's
To-
a reach, I think.
No, I was
I mean-
just sort of curious about what this.
In my
In the
experience,
scope.
yes, but I don't know that for sure.
Is the 50 hours to implement or just
No,
to
just to-
assess
just-
and?
I mean, most of it is
Advise
easily
and-
implemented once we
Yeah.
understand what's going on the back end. It's not rocket science, it's just understanding and making sure that it works the way it should.
And that it's secure.
And that it's secure, and that it can be easily, it's accessible to whoever comes into this office to work. Like, if I had no experience with this stuff before, it was not immediately transparent on how to work with the systems in the office. So
Well,
we
they
have to
solve
make
our-
it accessible.
Yeah.
I would also add that we really should nail down the answer to where the funds are coming from and report that back.
So you have two choices. One is the technical support line, which we are at 41%, but in January, we're gonna spend $3,600 on the contract for the website. That is part of the ARPA.
That
Yes.
is part of
So,
It-
it's either A or B, depending on C,
It's either this line here
Or
or it's,
reserve.
or,
Okay,
or ARPA funds, depending on, but I don't think that this is an ARPA fund
I don't think it is.
recommendation. I think the ARPA funds, they're talking about the website,
website.
the town
yeah,
website.
that's how I
So-
recall it.
If the select board if the select board decides to vote to use the ARPA funds for the town website, then we have sufficient money in this budget.
Okay.
If we don't, then we will have to go to the general reserve, but it will be a small draw on the general reserve fund.
Okay.
Do you have a question?
Oh, sorry.
Steve Lemke, River Road. Mr. Chairman, can I address Sheila with a question? Just,
Sure.
Sheila, are you raising this to correct issues that you know already exist or to prevent issues from coming up?
Both,
So we have some existing issues right now that you're concerned about,
yes,
and that whatever you're gonna do to solve those problems could be projected to be future solutions to not allow them to happen again.
yes.
Thank you, Steve. All right. I think that Missy Nancy wants to come in the meeting. I think we can take the vote now. So Rusty, are you inclined?
Aye.
Aye. Michael?
Aye.
Richard?
Yes, most certainly.
Veranda?
Hi.
Zon says aye. All right, thank you very kindly, folks. And we can go ahead with that, Sheila, thank you. All right, folks, let's pay these warrants.
Okay.
Thanks, Danny. Have a good night.
Good night, Danny. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, well, I move that we pay the following warrants. Payroll week 12/04/22 for the sum of $7,220.97. Payroll week 12/11/22 for the sum of $6,322.26. Expense warrant number 2211 for the sum of $21,817.17 for a grand total of $35,360.40.
I second that. Is there any discussion?
Yes. Let's see, I mean, in addition to paying some of the social service allocations, we have let's see, $3,472.53 devoted to employee retirement, VMERS.
It's a standard, just allocation of funds for
Yeah.
the retirement plan. Yep.
Yes.
It happens
nothing-
periodically.
Nothing extraordinary there. And diesel is $3,389.95, and repairs to town vehicles come in at $3,090.46. So
Thank you very
nothing too extraordinary out there.
All right, to approve the warrants, Rusty.
Aye.
All right, Michael, Richard,
Aye.
Brenda.
Aye.
Zan says aye. Thank you very kindly, folks. Now we'll move on in the agenda to other business, and I don't believe there is any this evening. Then we'll move right on to communications, and we have a couple here. So turn that to Richard, please.
Thanks, Zan. We got a thank you from SEFCA, and I can characterize that as saying that it's a thank you for the contribution that
Appropriation.
the appropriation that Guilford made and has usually made to SEFCA. We also got an interesting note from a citizen of Guilford. I'm going to just summarize it and just to read 2 paragraphs. Hello all. I have noticed that there isn't awareness or alignment with the community participation for meeting attendees. Some people often speak out of turn and in ways that are unproductive and that I'd characterize as harmful and harassing. And the writer goes on to say that she wishes the town would find ways to mediate that, to make that more civility, bring more civility to our meetings. She also queries this. She says, I'm curious if a dollar amount could be shared in regard to the cost of legal advice and representation that Mr. Jason Herron endeavors with the Selectboard have cost our town. If the amount is what I estimate, it may be important to highlight so our citizens are very clearly informed of the financial impact of his, this is her word, exploits. And you did that earlier by talking about the amount of money that we're going to have to spend in the upcoming budget.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Richard. Folks, just so you know that I responded to the person as well, so thank you. All right, folks. Now, at this point in the meeting, we'll be making a motion to go into executive session. So what that means is we're nearly to the end of the meeting. Thanks, folks that are here. You're welcome to stay out in the cold and we'll come get you, but likely you want to just go home. And then
I'd go sit by the fire if I were you.
The folks that are online, once we make the motion, we will then take a minute to move you all into the waiting room. And once we come out of our executive session, we will then invite you to, you will be invited back into the room and you can listen to the remainder of the meeting. So I will move that that the Select Board will go into executive session to discuss personnel issues per 1 VSA section 313A3 to discuss the appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer or employee. And I would like to include Sheila Morse in the executive session.
Good night.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michael. Rusty?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Michael?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Brenda?
Aye.
Zan says aye. So thank you all. We're going into executive session now. Okay, thank you, folks. I will move that we come out of executive session at 7:52, and we will have one motion. So I make the motion to come out.
I second that.
Thank you, Richard. So I'll take the vote. Rusty?
Aye.
All right, thank you, Michael.
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Brenda?
Aye.
Zan says aye. So we're now effectively out of executive session. There will be one vote for us to consider. And the motion here is that we will approve, and I'll make the motion, that the Select Board approve for special consideration bonuses to be made to our remarkable staff as discussed during the meeting.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Richard. All right, is there any discussion?
I think it would be helpful if we can explain to the public where those funds will be drawn from?
Okay, Sheila, do you want to?
Yeah, so there are various budget lines that deal with salary. The highway, regular highway, winter, overtime, town treasurer, town clerk, assistant town treasurer, assistant town clerk, lister, town administrator. I think I got them all. And the variables are over the year can't be known in advance, but it seems to me that the budget will cover any bonus that that you all recommended. So there should be no negative impact on various budget lines.
Are there any other questions or considerations?
Oh, when will the staff receive these bonuses?
The checks won't be written till the next payroll, so that would be December 29th. We could tell them about it first if you wanted to. You want to give everybody a Christmas present?
Yes, I think it'd be nice, just that we would acknowledge it before the next payroll, yeah.
Or whatever holiday they might.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds great.
So acknowledge it as an end of year gift. And I'd like to just also say in this regard that we're mindful as we make this decision that this has been a particularly tricky year coming off of COVID as we have. We're still not done with COVID, and the economy is as it is, and the stresses in the community have been high. So we appreciate our staff so very, very much. That we hope that this is understood as a gesture of goodwill and good faith on behalf of the select board. So, any other comments? All right, I'll take the roll call vote, please. Rusty?
I will abstain.
Okay, thank you. Michael?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Brenda?
Aye.
And Zahn says aye. So with 4 votes in favor and 1 abstention, we will, that motion moves forward. Thank you. Now, good folks, I would accept a motion to adjourn.
We have to do.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, thank you. We have to deal with our actions to be taken from a previous meeting. I think we're all up to speed there. Actions taken this evening.
Just see above. I always put see above.
Okay, there. I think we should say them out loud.
I'll say them out loud, okay.
Thank you. Just that we voted, in old business, we voted to, on an issue related to an allegation of violation of open meeting law. The select board voted to accept the ARPA advisory committee report. The select board voted to approve the publication of an RFP for internet technology. The select board approved warrants, the payment of warrants, and the select board just approved a set of bonuses for the fiscal year, for the end of the year. Thank you. And then there are no actions to be taken except that we will be tabling the notion of housing needs that Jethro Eaton would like to speak with us about. That will go on the next meeting.
I move to adjourn, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Richard. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Thank you, Michael. Rusty thirds. Rusty, you say?
Aye.
Aye. All right, Michael.
Aye.
Richard.
Aye.
And Miranda.
Aye.
And Zahn says aye. Thank you, folks. This meeting is
Okay, so-
adjourned.